Well, the draft is ready. I think we're prepping for the first game. Like, we have to keep in mind we're going to Cliffside. We have to keep in mind Baltune has picked a civ that is considered hard counted by most of the competitive community. He's picked Delhi up against Jeanne.
I'm not even sure if that's... Previously, we talked about that being like Jeanne favored.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, his Delhi is hard counted. Like,
Yeah, his Delhi is hard counted.
85%, I'd say.
But if you're able to kill Jeanne early on, and if you're able to like get surrounds and deny gold later on, I feel like as long as you get control over sacred sites, you're fine. Because then you can like market abuse and then you can overwhelm.
I just had a thought. We're playing Cliffside. What if he gets the spawn? You know the spawn I'm talking about, the triple sacred site.
Where you can like have one wall to it just
covers all of them, right? We're going to have to find out. I think it's time. Dragevann versus Baltune, an upper bracket series. Obviously, whoever gets beaten here will not be eliminated. But we kick off game number 1. Dragevann seemingly getting a beautiful matchup here with the Jeanne pick, going up against Baltune on the Delhi.
Yeah, it looks like it's not going to be that crazy of a sacred site spawn here for the Delhi. It's fairly even, fairly spread out around the middle. Dragevann immediately going for the aggressive scouting here, over to the side of his opponent. The question is going to be, is he going to loop around back to his side, or is he going to loop around the side of Baltune? Okay, he's going to loop around back to his side. So it's not as aggressive as could be, but a little bit more safe. With Dragevann, like with Jeanne, a very nice advantage on this map is you see where the markets are. And on this map, sheep generation usually favors the markets. They're usually like 6 sheep next to the market. So if you know where they are at, because sometimes they can spawn in weird ways, that's going to be a big benefit to you. And we can see here, yeah, that's where the sheep are. That's where you want to be.
And critical here as well, right? Because like you'd think that Jeanne just dunks the mid-map by going into knights. The reality is we've seen Ghazi are just as good at harassing loose economy. I wonder, a map like Cliffside, maybe an Edge Delhi can get here. You have all these choke points, right? You're going to be forced spamming early on. I think if you can wall the central ramp, get a few blockers in, it could be very hard for Jeanne to kind of commit hard into you.
Yeah, and then you just build on sacred site by sacred site. You wall in one sacred site, you capture it, then you go move towards the next one. And that's how you build a lead, because the sacred sites, it's when you're playing a civilization like Delhi, where you don't really have any incentives for going up to the next age, it's usually all about just how can I min-max the maximum out of this age without going into TCs, because Delhi doesn't like to do TCs early on. That's just market abuse. You just get the gold from the sacred sites and you use that to further enhance your economy. You get some wood in, you get some food in, mostly just food, and that's how you're able to really spam out those Ghazi raiders.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, like, sometimes we've seen people open Ghazi here. I think nowadays most players have accepted you kind of have to open spears, right? Because the first knight is too impactful.
Yeah.
And then because you're playing those walls, you inherently are already setting up for the win condition. So,
especially against Jeanne, because it's not just a knight, but it's a knight and Jeanne, which kind of makes it so that if you got like 3 Ghazi raiders out, you're still not going to be in a favored position. Like against one knight, 3 Ghazi raiders, perfectly fine. Against a knight and Jeanne, not so fine.
It's also interesting, right? Because I feel like the script to ruining Delhi's day is you need to pull them off Ghazi as an opener. But Jeanne is the one exception to the law where it's like when she does that, I don't feel like, great about her outcome, right? Like it's almost like because you have to build knights anyway and they're going to be in the spears, your own advantage has already been unraveled. It's a very weird dynamic compared to like other civs, like Abbasids, right?
Yeah.
Where Abbasids are like, oh, well, I've got spearmen, so you have to open archers.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you're already a little bit ahead of Delhi because of that.
Yeah, it's like making your opponent like force choices that they don't usually want to make here. Both players getting a relatively even sheep count, I want to say, just from looking at how many sheep were following the scouts here between them.
It's always deceptive with Delhi, right? Because they don't have to go home.
Yeah, they can just go for long scouts here. Yeah. Long scouting route. Actually, I want to say probably Dragevann got just a couple more here, which is going to be very important for Jeanne. They don't have that berry bonus, so having a couple more sheep there at the beginning definitely helps you. It means that you're a little bit delayed when you have to actually move out of your base.
I do love the stupidity sometimes of a sheep being that close to your TC and not joining you, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's Luke Skywalker, mate. He's resisting all the dark temptations.
It can be very, very annoying when your scout is on the other side of the map and you see your opponent's scout slowly going towards that.
Yeah, but you like bait him. It's like, that's intentional. Watch him dive my TC, and then I'll garrison and... Oh, wait, I'm playing a berry civ. I'm not near the TC.
The villagers are so far away. First night, now going to be in queue, and we do actually have the opening here from Baltune with the Ghazi Raider. So, I mean, to be fair, he's got a good amount of sheep, right? Like, he will have to forfeit the berries here, probably. Oh, I actually like the idea. Okay, now that we immediately have the archer range here, suddenly just sticking with Mass Ghazi feels a lot better.
I think, like, Dragevann, where's his scout right now? Because it kind of just feels like he's got in his own head of how it's meant to go.
Yeah.
He needs this info. It's really critical.
Like, usually you only start the archer range when you already see the barracks coming out, but no, this is going to be the barracks here, so...
The famous Dragevann mining capsules.
Oh, that...
He does this a lot.
Wait, does that even do anything?
Yeah. So it looks stupid, right? Like, I've seen a Ghazi stand on the other side of this, and they should be able to hit the villager, and they can't. It's so silly that it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes he even walls in both sides.
Okay.
He's like, can you imagine being the miner in that situation?
Oh, there you go.
Like,
he's trying.
Yeah. So
it's going to connect, right?
You know, like, you gotta remember, folks. Before
There
this
it
looks
is.
outrageous, remember in these days, miners didn't have rights. Okay, they didn't get coffee breaks. They didn't get to go home and see their family. Those guys work until they die, and they're never gonna die because they've been walled in at minute 5.
That's not the kind of immortality you would like to have. But yeah, Ghazi Raiders are starting to pump up. But at the same time, Dragevann, he's got a really, really good military already. 2 knights, another one in the queue. Overall, definitely has all the tools that he needs in order to prevent a potential sacred site capture here from Baltune, if it should get to that. The archers, I want to say, best stay at home.
Yeah, they can just vibe. Maybe they should build a palisade and then a palisade on the other side of the archers as well. There you go.
We do like a
outpost, right?
yeah, we do like one of those feudal age keep thingies.
Like, you know, it's funny because I remember Baltune done that the other day where I was watching one of his Ottoman games and he walked a villager over the other side and he built palisades next to a wood line and put all his archers in. So I wouldn't put it beyond either of them in this series, to be totally honest with you.
All right, villagers being pulled away from the berries. Now going to be working out on those sheep.
Do we have textiles yet? Because I feel like textiles is insanely valuable in this matchup.
He must have textiles, yeah, because equal villagers and Jeanne loses 1, yeah. So textiles is going to be very good here, but there are 3 knights, right? So they should still be nice in the vision there.
It depends, because like it's always awkward when you have to approach a tree line, right? Because you pass behind each other, and you're like...
They block each other, and charges won't go through. Sometimes that can be annoying. I'm not sure how the Spanish bros, they always manage to avoid that somehow.
That's because they are secretly gods. I think that's the only answer.
Oh, no!
Oh, this is huge. He didn't actually get the
charge. And he has
off.
Archer Jeanne. She's taking bonus damage here. She's getting picked out first.
She's gone. 14 XP and nothing else. A great fight there. It's critical, right? Like Dragevann, because he didn't realize it and charge straight away, no bonus damage means the Ghazi lasts a lot longer.
A lot of the Ghazi Raiders did go down due to body blocking. It's only Jeanne and like 3 archers that went down. Sure, Jeanne is down, but you don't need to invest the resource into getting her back. It's going to be like 1-2 minutes until she gets back.
I think, like, Baltune, if he pivots Spearman now, right, you could potentially push out for that central sacred site. Like, Sanctity is locking in.
He added an archer range. Has he added in a barracks yet? That's going to be the... Oh, we see a very heavy aggression play here from the looks of it from Dragevann. Oh, he hasn't consecrated any of his buildings yet. That's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when Jeanne dies. You're just going to get less charges at a critical point in the game. That hurts so much because whenever you go Spearman, like, that's technically the most cost-efficient thing to consecrate, right? Like, in terms of percentage you're gaining. Because unless you want to build horsemen, like when you consecrate a school of cavalry, you're only actually discounting half the cost of a unit, right? With spearmen, it's 75%. Yeah, a little bit of a rough situation, and we have got spearmen now added in. So this should be Baltune making a move probably for the wall on the central ram, and then a lock-in on the sacred site from there.
Yeah, behind that, sends in all of his Ghazi Raiders around the side. Now we're going to be able to see just how much of a difference that palisade wall really makes.
It's very cheap as well, by the way.
It is. It's 8 wood.
Yeah, because you place the wall beyond where you're actually going to build it, right?
And then, you cancel the sides.
Which is, I don't even know why that works. Like, it's so insane. So Ghazi numbers are getting pretty big. Like, I find this is kind of like a weird, scary point. Like, theoretically, you'd think Jeanne is favored. I like the fact that Baltune is sticking an army behind to try and avoid Dragevann getting an offensive fight, right? Because your nightmare is Jeanne fights near your base, gets XP, and then finds eco.
Oh, I don't like the second stable now for Baltune. He's setting himself up for a situation where it's like mass knights versus mass Ghazi Raiders, and Dragevann already has a scary amount of knights now.
I wonder, like, does Dragevann even know about the spearmen, though? Because look at his comp. He's building as if there's no spearmen.
He's going out to the deer from Baltune.
Well, look at that area of the map, right? Double deer and boar. Yes, please.
That's mine. I mean, not like he has the save on his side, but...
This is always scary though, because Baltune has vision on the area, right? Like,
Yeah. But he's got the knights there, right? So he should be fine either way.
But
and
my
now
thought
Jeanne's back.
is like when you're 4 in, because the deers are disappearing. Like if Baltune just casually, like it's very easy.
Yeah,
to casually
he'll know.
glance
He'll
that.
know immediately that something's up over there. I like how patient he is with those Gazi rays. Like he's not just running in, not just trying to do. Wait, okay.
You were saying?
But he has been patient so far.
Yeah.
He has been patient so far. But all patience has its limits, I guess. Actually, he's kind of forcing the Dragevann to split up his troops a little bit here.
The interesting
Just by
thing
being
is,
there.
like, if we check Dragavann's vision as well, Baltune could potentially creep over to this deer pack now with all his army, and Dragevann doesn't have eyeballs on it. Yeah, look at that. Oh, this is dangerous.
Oh, Dragevann sees the military. He sees the spearmen. I want to see archers ASAP. I want to see him move like a lot of villagers over to wood, but he just pulled a lot of villagers over to food. Still has a lot of villagers on gold. This could be difficult, especially if we consider that with Tower of Victory, the Spearmen actually have an insane amount of attack speed. Like, Spearmen are one of those units that benefit proportionally more than other units from the attack speed increase.
It's interesting as well, because in these fights, I feel like you don't want to brace with the Spearmen. You actually want to, like, soak it with the Ghazi. So the Spearmen are just attacking straight away,
Yeah,
right?
because the brace kind of stunts your Spearmen as well.
Yeah. So, like, unless you've got at least the same amount as your opponent has knights, you don't want to be leading with spears.
Yeah.
Scary position, though. Dragevann continues to just play... Do we just call this... Are we going to do it to him? The Zertan strat? The Zertan build?
You mean that this game is going to go on for like an hour or so?
And he's only going to have Royal Knights, remember? That's his build.
I've tried that the other day. Didn't work out too well. I don't know how Louis and
Feels
CSO
weird,
can make
right?
it work so many times.
Well, it's like, I mean, we're at the point where like Louis and CSO try to make Roos Knights work with their halberds.
They'll get there eventually. I believe in those guys. They make miracles happen.
Dragevann might need a miracle here. Military mass is bulking Baltune, now moving over to block out the deer location here. If the Ghazi get a whiff of this, they can even massacre the villagers.
There we go. Notices the villagers. Villagers should be getting pulled. Sacrificial lamb not coming in. And now here come the knights. Actually, majority are going to be facing off against the Ghazi raiders. Ghazi try to go for this round, but a lot of them are losing a lot of value.
Yeah, but look at the spears right now. Like, the spears are not being taken out whatsoever. So many knights are going down here.
Ian comes in.
Baltune throws away a lot, but he gets the value. Jeanne down. Knights get wiped out, and that should just be game.
Yeah, I mean, all the villagers are now exposed, and GG gets called. Baltune in a set up against the up against Jeanne d'Arc with the Delhi, able to take the victory.
I mean, it felt like a very weird game, though. You know, this is meant to be a matchup that we said historically favors Jeanne very heavily. Like, statistics on the ladder, I think, is 70, 75%.
Pretty
Pro
high.
play, it's like close to 80, if I remember correctly.
It is a pretty done deal. Well, I think what happened there is there was this timing where he saw, okay, there's double stable from Baltune. Surely he's just going to go mass Ghazi Raiders, and I'll be fine with just going mass Knights myself. What happened in the end then was, though, that even without taking any of the sacred sites, Baltune managed to mass up a very, very big army, like a diverse army, not just mass Ghazi Raiders. And even though Dragevann kind of scouted, he was like, okay, surely my knights are still going to be superior. I got so many knights. And that's kind of misleading. Even when you have that many knights, what can still happen is you get overwhelmed. It's just too many. The meat shield is there. The spearmen get free hits. And what happened there, it's exactly as you said. The horsemen are the meat shield. The spearmen just attack.
And it was wild as well, because those spearmen, 8 of them, and only 4 knights contested, which means you get stunned and you get stabbed by a second spear, right? It's a losing battle. I just love the way that Baltune, he prepped that clearly. Like, the spearmen came in a delay on the right side, and then you got the flank envelopment, right?
Yeah.
So just great micro, great outplay. Baltune, a point up. I mean, he genuinely confidently felt that this isn't like a one and done where Jeanne just gets the easy win. He proves it here. Dragevann, definitely an unorthodox approach, right? I think what worries me a little there is it kind of felt like Dragevann was in his own head on the counter to the counter to the counter. You know what I mean? Right? He's like, I must get archers. There's no reason to get archers yet. And now he's like, I don't need archers. He's only building Ghazi.
I think he played the scenario through in his head and was like, yeah, knights are really tanky. Knights do a lot of damage. Surely in the end, the knights are going to come out on top. But when you actually see it happen, knights aren't like that one beats all kind of unit anymore.